A lot of people think low light and a busy schedule mean they can never keep plants alive, but the truth is some of the toughest houseplants thrive on exactly that kind of setup. When you walk into a dim corner or a hallway that barely gets sunlight, these plants don't complain, they just settle in and keep growing. And if you forget to water them for a week or two, they act like nothing happened. These are the plants that stay green even when life gets hectic and you barely have time to check your phone battery. I have seen apartments in the city where these plants were the only thing that made the place feel alive, even with no bright windows at all. They are forgiving, durable, and seriously underrated for how much comfort they bring. So if you want a living space that looks cared for without demanding constant attention, these are the plants you want on your side. Let's look at the top 12 that handle neglect and low light better than anything else. Jade Plant is one of those rare houseplants that honestly feels built for people who forget they even own plants because it can go 3 to 4 weeks without water and still look glossy and firm. Its thick rhizomes store moisture like a backup tank, which is why it keeps thriving even in apartments that barely get an hour of daylight. Most people do not realize that Jade plants have been tested in offices with light levels as low as 10-foot candles and still maintained healthy growth, which makes them perfect for dim corners or north-facing rooms. What makes it even better is how it quietly purifies the air by filtering toxins while asking for almost no care in return, giving you a tough, reliable plant that stays green even when life gets chaotic. Monstera is surprisingly resilient when it comes to low light and inconsistent care because its large split leaves evolved to capture whatever light filters through dense forest canopies, which is why it adapts well to dim rooms at home. Even if you forget to water it for a week or two, the plant stores enough moisture in its stems to stay upright and fresh, making it a great match for busy people. Studies on indoor light tolerance show that Monstera can maintain steady growth at levels under 50-foot candles, which is lower than what most living rooms get naturally. Give it occasional watering and a steady spot out of direct sun and it keeps rewarding you with bold tropical foliage that makes any neglected corner feel intentional and stylish. Philodendron handles low light and forgetful watering better than most plants because it naturally grows under thick rainforest ceilings where sunlight is filtered down to just a fraction of full strength. Its leaves are built to photosynthesize efficiently even at 20 to 50-foot candles, which is why it keeps thriving in bedrooms, hallways, and shaded apartments. When life gets busy, this plant barely notices because it prefers slightly dry soil and can go 10 to 14 days without a drink thanks to its strong root system. What makes it even more appealing is how quickly it adapts to new environments, settling in and pushing out fresh leaves even when conditions are far from perfect, giving you a hardy, easygoing plant that stays lush with minimal care. Parlor Palm has earned its reputation as one of the most dependable low-light plants because it was originally popularized in Victorian homes that relied on dim indoor lighting long before modern bulbs existed. It grows naturally in shaded forest floors, which is why it can handle light levels as low as 20-foot candles without losing its deep green color. Even if you forget to water it for a week or more, the plant stays steady because its roots hold moisture well and prefer slightly dry conditions between drinks. What makes it even better is how slowly and gracefully it grows, adding a calm tropical feel to any room while asking for almost nothing in return, making it a perfect match for busy people and low-light spaces. Jade plant might look like it needs bright sun all day, but this tough succulent actually handles low light and long gaps between watering better than people expect thanks to its thick leaves that store moisture for weeks. In real indoor tests, Jade plant stayed healthy at light levels around 50 to 70-foot candles, which is common in shaded living rooms, making them more adaptable than most give them credit for. When life gets busy, this plant barely reacts because it can go 2 to 3 weeks without water while holding its shape and color through dry spells. What makes it even more impressive is how long-living it is, with some jade plants documented to grow for decades, turning into small decorative trees that add structure and calm to any neglected corner. Philodendron is one of the toughest statement plants you can bring indoors because it naturally grows under dense jungle shade where light levels stay low all day, which is why it thrives even in dim corners of a home. Its broad, deeply cut leaves are designed to maximize every bit of available light, allowing it to keep growing at levels under 50-foot candles, which is lower than most living rooms provide. When you forget to water it for a week or more, the plant stays steady because its thick stems and strong root system hold enough moisture to handle dry spells without stress. What really makes it stand out is how it slowly turns into a bold sculptural plant that looks well maintained even when life gets busy, giving you a resilient low-light companion that brings a tropical feel with almost no effort. Haworthia is one of the easiest plants to keep alive when you are short on time and sunlight because it naturally grows in shaded rocky areas where it receives only soft filtered light for most of the day. Indoors, it stays healthy at light levels as low as 30 to 50-foot candles, which makes it perfect for offices, bedrooms, and shelves that never get direct sun. Its thick pointed leaves act like water tanks, allowing the plant to go 2 to 3 weeks without a drink and still hold their firm shape and deep green color. What makes Haworthia especially dependable is how slow and steady it grows, keeping its compact form without demanding constant care, giving you a clean, modern-looking plant that thrives even when life gets hectic. Snake plant is one of the strongest survivors you can put in a low-light room because it naturally grows in harsh environments where it has to adapt to dim shade and long dry periods, which is why it barely reacts when conditions indoors are not ideal. Studies show it can photosynthesize at extremely low light levels under 25-foot candles, which makes it perfect for hallways, bathrooms, and corners that hardly see the sun. Its tall upright leaves store a huge amount of moisture, allowing it to go 3 to 4 weeks without water while still staying firm and green even during busy stretches. What makes it even more valuable is how it quietly filters indoor air and keeps its shape without any fuss, giving you a stylish, dependable plant that thrives on neglect and keeps the room looking fresh with almost no effort. Aloe is far tougher than people think when it comes to low light and inconsistent care because its thick gel-filled leaves hold enough moisture to keep the plant healthy for 2 to 3 weeks without a refill, which makes it perfect for busy routines. Indoors it adapts well to moderate and even slightly dim light, staying steady at levels around 50-foot candles, which is common in shaded bedrooms and offices. When you skip a watering, the plant simply uses its stored reserves and keeps its shape without drooping or losing color. What makes aloe especially dependable is how long-living and resilient it is, continuing to push out new pups even in less than ideal conditions, giving you a clean, bright plant that keeps thriving with almost no attention. Peace lily is one of the few plants that truly thrives in low light because it naturally grows in deep forest understories where sunlight is filtered down to just a small percentage of its full strength, which is why it stays healthy even at 20 to 40-foot candles indoors. It also forgives busy schedules since it can bounce back quickly after missing a watering thanks to its strong root system and moisture-holding stems that keep the leaves supported longer than most leafy plants. Many office studies show peace lily continues producing lush foliage in dim conditions while quietly improving air quality by filtering common indoor toxins. What makes it even better is how it lifts a space with its fresh green leaves and occasional white blooms, turning a neglected corner into something calm and polished with almost no effort. Money tree is a surprisingly low-maintenance plant because it naturally grows in shaded riverbanks where sunlight is soft and scattered, which makes it comfortable in the low-light conditions most homes have. Indoor studies show it holds steady at light levels around 50-foot candles, allowing it to keep its bright green leaves even in dim living rooms. When you get busy and forget to water it, the thick braided trunk stores enough moisture to help the plant handle 1 to 2 week dry spells without losing its shape. What makes it even more dependable is how it adapts to different environments, quickly staying upright and glossy while adding a calm, balanced look to any corner that needs a tough, forgiving plant. Rubber plant is tougher than most people expect when it comes to low light and inconsistent watering because its thick leathery leaves can keep storing energy even in rooms that stay under 50-foot candles, which is common in shaded apartments. It grew for decades as a classic office plant because it handles dim corners well and keeps its deep green color without needing direct sun. When life gets busy, this plant barely reacts since its woody stems and strong roots hold moisture long enough to tolerate 1 to 2 week dry spells. What really makes it stand out is how it keeps growing slowly and steadily while adding height and a clean, bold look to any neglected space, giving you a reliable, low-effort plant that looks good no matter how chaotic your schedule gets. So if you have a busy routine or a home that never seems to get enough sunlight, these plants are proof that you can still build a green space that feels calm, alive, and genuinely easy to manage. Each one brings its own kind of toughness, whether it is surviving long dry spells, low light corners, or weeks when you simply forget to check on them. The best part is how they keep your space looking cared for even when life gets messy. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more guides that make indoor gardening simple, make sure to subscribe, like, and drop a comment about which plant surprised you the most. Your support helps the channel grow and brings more easy plant tips your way.